Welcome to How Are Properties of Matter Measured? You can observe many properties of matter through your senses. You can also use tools to measure some properties of matter. Tools for measuring mass. One property of matter that you can measure is mass. An object's mass is the amount of matter it has. Solids, liquids, and gases all have mass. One tool used to measure mass is a balance. The two pans shown are at the same level. They are in balance. The mass of the toy in the left is the same as the mass of the toy's pieces on the right. And there's the balance. A metric unit for mass is the gram, G. Larger amounts of matter are measured in kilograms, kg. There are 1,000 grams in a kilogram. The mass of a baseball bat is about 1 kilogram. An object's mass is the same no matter where the object is. An object weight is different in different places. Its weight is different on Earth, on the moon, and in space. The scales in doctors' offices and grocery stores measure weight. And here is the mass of common objects. Paper clip is about 1 gram, and a dime 2 grams, a pencil 5 grams, a mug 400 grams, or a stapler about 500 grams. A balance measures mass or the amount of matter an object has. The whole toy has the same mass as its parts. So there's the whole toy on one side and the parts on the other, and they balance each other out. Tools for measuring volume. Another property of matter that you can measure is volume. An object's volume is the amount of space that the object takes up. Solids, liquids, and gases all have volume. To measure the volume of liquids, you use a cup with numbered units on its side or a graduated cylinder. The basic metric unit for measuring the volume of a liquid is the liter, or L. You will see numbers for parts of a liter on the side of the measuring cup. The smaller parts of a liter are milliliters, ml. There are 1,000 milliliters in a liter. Solids have volume like liquids do. You can measure the volume of a solid using water. A solid, such as a small rock, will keep its shape in water. Fill a measuring cup with water halfway. Record the water level. Place the rock into the water. Record the new level of the water. The difference in the water levels is equal to the volume of the rock. There's a measuring cup. The volume of the water in this cup is 500 milliliters. The volume of the milk in this jug is about 2 liters. The volume of the orange juice in this bottle is about 1 liter. And the volume of water in this bottle is about 500 milliliters. And here's the checkpoint question we'll talk about. How are an object's mass and weight different? You might want to go back to this paragraph on page 284 where it talks about an object's mass and its weight. Measuring density. Density is another property of solids, liquids, and gases. Density is a measure of the amount of matter in a certain amount of space. A bowling ball is harder to lift compared to a rubber ball that is the same size. Both balls have the same volume. The bowling ball, however, has more mass. Therefore, the bowling ball has greater density. You can study the density of matter in objects by observing how well they float in a liquid or a gas. This property of matter is buoyancy. Stones, for instance, have little buoyancy in water and they sink. Therefore, stones must have a higher density than water. Another example is a kind of salad dressing made of oil and vinegar. Oil is buoyant in vinegar and it floats on top of vinegar. Vinegar is mostly water. Therefore, oil has a lower density than water. Balloons filled with helium are buoyant in air and they rise. Therefore, helium has a lower density in air. And there's a bowling ball and a rubber ball. We can see that this ball is the same size as the bowling ball. How could you tell which has more matter in it? We'll talk about that one in class. So far, we have looked at the density of objects compared to water or air. How do you compare the density of two solid objects with the same volume? To do this, you need to measure the mass and the volume of the two objects. Make sure the objects are equal in volume. Then the object that has the greater mass will be the one with greater density. Knowing the density of matter helps scientists tell different kinds of matter apart. So we have pennies, marbles, a paper boat, and a cork. These objects differ in their density compared to water. Predict which objects will sink and which will float. An object will float in water if it has less density than water. It will sink if it has greater density than water. And then our checkpoint question, what is density? Tools for measuring other properties. Size is another property that can be measured. Length, for example, is the distance from one end of an object to another end. Metric rulers and tapes are used to measure length. The basic metric unit of length is the meter. Shorter lengths are measured in centimeters, cm, or millimeters, mm. There are 100 centimeters in a meter. There are 1,000 millimeters in a meter. Much longer distances are measured in kilometers. There are 1,000 meters in a kilometer. Other tools and units can be used to measure the volume of solid objects. A cubic unit is a cube that is used to measure volume. To find the volume of a box, you can find how many cubes of one size would fit inside the box. A cube that measures 1 centimeter on each side has a volume of 1 cubic centimeter. If 12 of these cubes fit inside a box and fill it up, the volume of the box is 12 cubic centimeters. And we can see that over here in the picture on the right. The tape measures the length of this model airplane's wingspan in centimeters. How long is the wingspan? Uh, 24 centimeters. Some objects are too small to see easily. For instance, you may need a hand lens or magnifying glass to observe and measure the properties of a pill bug. If you put a metric ruler under the lens, you can more easily measure the length of the pill bug. He looks to be about 2 centimeters. The lens lets you see small units on the ruler clearly in order to measure with accuracy. And a checkpoint question. Describe how you would measure the volume of a liquid. How could you measure the volume of a box? Be ready to talk about those tomorrow.